And yeah, I was just in Montreal for 10 days. We had a family get together. My grandparents' 75th wedding anniversary, and grandpa turned 95. They live in DDO, and we stayed in Kirkland. So
Chong.
yeah, it's good, man.
What's DDO?
Dollar des Armonts. It's just on West Island. Yeah. Whereabouts do you live in Montreal?
I'm in Dorval. I'm in the West Island. Well,
Oh,
West
yeah.
Dorval.
Yeah,
I'm near the
yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it convenient for you, eh?
Yeah. Take my bicycle usually.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's do this, guys. So side hustles is today's theme. We invited Jeff here because I've known Jeff for a bit. I know what kind of stuff he does. These guys are very curious to know about side hustles, what's worked, what didn't work, which side hustles may be best to try in 2023, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, this is an informal conversation. Whatever happens here stays in the room within the group. Kind of to set the ground, we will tell you as it is, say it as it is. There's no bullshit here,
Yeah.
right? We won't hold back. The guys understand this full confidentiality, so if anything does come up, it stays within our group.
Yeah.
And finally, they're all open. So
Yeah.
whatever you got, they're coming with cups empty. Fill them up as you please, and they'll take what they want.
Yeah.
Leave what they don't.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
So without further ado, you want to share with us kind of your journey on side hustles and what's worked for you, man?
Jesus, I've always had like a second gig growing up, and the first gig was like work. I always had WorkSafe BC, a government gig, as like my main job, and I was like 19 when I started. Then I got like my buddy called me if I wanted to be a rep at Rogers Wireless, so I worked in the call center. And from there, it was like always like trying to like maybe detail cars for a bit, but shit, my hands got all so like tired and cramped up and shit. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I thought I'd want to be like audio installer for car stereos. Dropped like $5,000 as a deposit, and then I said, I don't want to do it. Can I get my deposit back? It's like, sorry, no, there's no refunds. Fuck, lost $5,000, right? Then I thought, oh, let's get into the whole like vending machine thing. Dropped like $4,000 as a deposit, and I said, fuck, I don't want to do that either. That was gone, non-refundable. And then I had my own properties where I was managing them, right? I bought my first one at 19, the second one at 20. It was like $92,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in Richmond, and then $97,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment the following year in the same building. And rent was like $900, $850 a month, so that, and when I was young, I was like, I just cared about the monthly income, the rent. And I was like, oh, this guy's gonna pay me like top rent. I'll just take him. I didn't really do my due diligence on vetting. I was like, sure, let's do it. And after 2 months, the guy's like, hey man, I can't afford it. I was like, fuck. The fuck? And he's like, yeah, I gotta go. Okay, cool. I would then say, okay, well, you lose your damage deposit. Okay, well, they just leave and the place is a fucking mess. And you're like, holy fuck. So, you spend the time now to clean that shit up because they don't give a fuck. And I learned that, hey, it's better to give the damage deposit back. It's better to have lower rent and have a bigger pool of people to choose from, right? And that way you don't get into those messes. And to vet pay stubs, bank statements, references, all that shit. And then spend 15 minutes chatting with the person to get to know who they are. It's so important to find a good tenant and a person that you get along with, rather than chasing that, I'm gonna get, this guy's willing to pay me $1,000 a month, when really it should be if you were at 900, 850, you'll get 20 people to choose from instead of that one person that's gonna pay you your $1,000. Yeah, it's been such a journey with that. And so as I built up my real estate portfolio, I had friends, family members, you know, be like, hey, can you rent out my places for me, right? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll pay you. You'll pay me? Okay, cool. And so, you know, $100 a door is what they would pay me, and then they'll pay me half month's rent to like find a tenant and stuff. And that's how it started. And then from there, it just grew. It started exploding about 2018, 2017, where I'm getting calls from like the CEO, president of Ritchie Brothers, the president of Boston Pizza. And they're like, Jeff, I got a sixplex of kids. I got a character home in Mount Pleasant. And I was like, who are these people, right? And I was at a place where I didn't need the extra income. So now I got to spend time on seeing if I got along with these people first and seeing what they wanted to see if we're a good fit. And you know, everything's worked out since. Like there's people like, hey, I got like 20 properties in Abbotsford. Fuck, I don't want to deal with anything in Abbotsford. It's so far, right? And they're like, sorry, you gotta find someone else. Oh, I'll pay you more. It's time now. Time with the kids, time with the family. You know, that's what it's about now. So it's been great. It's, you know, there's been times I've had to fire myself and be like, hey, you know, I think you need someone else to manage this for you. I may not be the right fit for you, you know? And before I'd be scared to do that, but now it's just natural. It's just like saying, look, I can't do it. How much time do you need? Do you need a month, 2 months in order to find someone else? You know, it's just being upfront and honest. And sometimes you get people that get upset. And sometimes you get people like, oh no, please, I didn't mean to say that. Keep me. Like, no. You're a headache. I don't want to deal with you anymore. Let's just, you know. But yeah, it just happened by accident. I love doing that. I love doing the management. I love finding tenants, and I love meeting new people. And so that's why it just fit. You know, for me, it's not work. I think that's why I like it so much. Like my regular day job sucks, you know, it is such a fucking grind, you know, but I had a heart issue in December, and I was off my regular work for 4 months, and I was still doing the property management stuff, but it was, you know, I managed like 91 doors, and it wasn't work because you get a text here, dishwasher, washer, dryer, whatever. But when you like your tenants and you get along with them, it's like talking to you guys, talking to a friend. It's like, yeah, don't worry, here, call this guy, we'll fix it, done. That's it. I just pay the bill and get reimbursed by the owner, you know? And my wife's like, you're so busy with the rentals. Like, no, not really. It's a text here, an email there, whatever. But my regular day job, you know, I work from home, but it's still like 7, 8 hours, you know, at the desk, you know, chain there, you know, it's a grind. So, yeah. Well, what questions you guys got for me?
First of all, thanks, Jeff, for that.
Yeah.
A lot of background, interesting side hustles. So there's 2 ways you guys can kind of take this, and I'm inviting you all to throw the questions. You can dive deeper into property management or rentals and whatnot. I know some of you are interested in that. Or maybe even talk about side hustles that you have that you kind of would like to pick his brain about and maybe ask some questions about it so you guys can get ahead. I'll leave the floor open. You guys can choose who wants to go first.
No, I think they can go. I don't know. Can they see us?
Yeah, they can see us. Ujay, Dave, you guys got any questions?
Oh, they can see us now.
I honestly just hearing you talk about it, I think was helpful to me. And I don't really have any questions. I think I enjoy just listening. So if anyone else has a question.
Okay. Ujay,
Yeah, how do you know like in like 15 minutes that people will be good tenants? Like you said, they're easy to talk to, friends, but you know, people have sometimes people hide their true self or they were, how do you kind of like detect that? Like,
Yeah, I think it's a skill that I acquired like through WorkSafe BC as well, like and in various customer service positions that I've held, where you're trying to determine like like with Rogers, I was in the customer relations. People are canceling, and you trying to find the root reason why they say I want to cancel, and you find out why. It's like, oh, their phone's busted or whatever it is. And for rentals, it's like, why are you guys leaving your place now? And they'll be like, oh, and you can tell like if they're lying to you, kind of, some people will be like, oh, we need a bigger place. And then where else do you guys live now? Oh, we live in Kitsilano. And, or maybe their roommates leaving, or they split up from their partner. Some people are candid. Like yesterday, I had this Australian girl, and she's like, I broke up with my partner. We moved here from Melbourne, Australia. We've been here for 9 months, and I want kids. She doesn't, and lesbian couple. And she's like, so I'm looking for a place with my roommate, and she just tells me her whole story. There's nothing to. Why would she lie about this whole story? And we talked for that half an hour, at the suite. And this morning, she sends me her application with her bank stuff, letter of employment, work permit, and stuff like that. She's got it all, and her her bank balance. So, like when it's just normal conversation, like kind of like this forum here, just she tells you about herself, right? There was another guy that came, he's like, I'm an engineer, but really dry guy. And I was like, it's like pulling teeth from this guy. He's just not open. And some people are like that, right? They're just shy or whatever it is, but the vibe wasn't good. So then you're just like, there's better people to choose from. Definitely. Yeah.
Clement, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you too.
Clement, Jeff, Clement, I'll let you guys introduce you guys in a sec. But just to kind of echo what Jeff is saying, Ujay, in my line of work, you have to really be able to vet these people, right? Especially like Jeff, when he's saying, do I want to work with this person or not? And maybe you've gone through this too, Ujay, where you meet somebody and you're like, oh, something's off about this person. Have you ever had that before?
yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so how do you know something's off about a person?
It's just a gut feeling.
Right, exactly. And so a lot of these things, a lot of the cues are nonverbal. They don't have to tell you the story and you, oh yeah, I believe them for sure. There's something that tells you, it's actually the amygdala, it's called the bullshit detector in your brain, that's saying, oh wait, something's off here. I should really look into this a little more, right? And that gut feeling usually is right. I would say maybe around 70 to 80% of the time. I mean, maybe you can attest to this. You're not 100% on with like, oh yeah, this is a good guy. I know everything about him. He's going to be a great tenant. Sometimes we get it wrong sometimes, right?
Mhm.
I've been since my early days of doing this, when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, I've been like 100% now with it. But back then, like I said, you chase the high dollar rent, and you get that one person. That's it. You're not really vetting them. Those are the ones that fuck you up.
Yeah. And also, if you listen carefully, he has measures in place so that the bullshit actually kind of filters itself out. Bank statements,
Yeah,
Talking
current pay stubs.
current pay stubs, all this
Yeah.
stuff. You can't really, I mean, you can make it up.
You could make it up, yeah. letter of employments and stuff like that, you know, bank balances and stuff, but you have all that, that's evidence, but at the same time, then you know, when you chat with them to see you get along with them, are they being forthcoming with information when you ask them stuff, you know, so.
Yeah. Does that help, Ujay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So while we have you here, Clement, you want to give a quick rundown who you are, where you're from, what you're about?
Clement, where I'm from, Vancouver, Richmond area. I'm a real estate agent here, and what am I about? Right now I'm about family. My baby over there is kind of struggling around. So
yeah, he's a cute, adorable little daughter, Saku. She comes on screen once in a while, makes an appearance, but she's busy with mom, right?
no, she's just sleeping, but she was also kind of struggling.
All right.
She's making a little fuss.
All good. We'll let you deal.
It's okay. Yeah. She stopped now.
There you go. So yeah, thanks, Vijay. Do you have any other questions?
Oh, do you ever plan to, because you said your regular job is like a grind, whereas this is, you enjoy it more. So do you ever plan to make this into your like main source of income in the future, or do you just see this as only as a side hustle?
You know, it is just, for me, it's just a side hustle. Like, there's a pension there for my daily grind job. I got 12 years left to get that pension, and then I'm out for sure. And I'll still do the property management, right? Do I intend to grow it? No. It's good the way it is. If it grows on its own, fine. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal, right? I'm okay where I'm at right now, definitely.
So I have a question for you, if you don't mind. All of us have probably done a side hustle here and there. But then if you look at the time horizon for when, you know, you first started, you had your own properties, then it kind of grew and boom, you got a whole bunch, right? So I know your answer probably can't be applicable to everything that we've tried, but typically, how long does it take to stick at it and actually get the success, or like, you know, oh, I feel good about this, I'm confident in doing it, I'm making good income? What would you say roughly how long that takes to get to?
Like I said, like it boomed in like 2017, 2018-ish. So that's like what, 5, 6 years or so, right?
Yeah.
But mine was just all referral based. It was all like because I have my own stuff, and people see that, well, he manages his own stuff in these buildings, and I have stuff in this building too. I trust Jeff, you know, because I'm in Montreal, I'm in Seychelles, Mauritius, whatever it is. I want him to do it for me, right? And then it's just, you know, the Merchant community, it's just, it's like they all just want to like help each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, call Jeff, ask him, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole, like the bigger guys, like the Boston Pizza guy, the Ritchie Brothers guy, it was just like through realtors that'd be like, hey, I've got a client, can you help them? You know? Yeah, is by accident. It's not like I wasn't looking for it. You know, it just happened. It can happen to any of us, you know. And there was no advertising for me whatsoever. Yeah.
I think that's great. You know, you don't have to try to get the clientele, it's the referrals, right?
Yeah.
And plus the referrals are way more, you know, trustable, if you will.
Yeah.
Than, you know, Facebook ads or Instagram ads. Like, hi, I'm Jeff, I'm on Facebook and I can rent your property out for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just a passive kind of way of getting clientele.
Yeah.
Clement, or actually, well, I'll give it to Andrew because he was here first.
And I say by accident. It's very modest in a way that's like word of mouth. It's your value, so people see that this guy's really worth what he's at. So by accident or not, he's built like his own empire. People are like, this guy's good, this guy's good. So they just keep coming to you value. So I try to put that in a sense, like if I teach martial arts, if I do personal training, I have a few clients that people that come in this, and then like, would I think of that as an accident, or you grind, you just keep doing this while you do your own job, and you're good at what you do, and you are who you say, and you're a good person at heart. So when people see that, they're able to, resonate with that. And so I think, I don't know, is that by accident, or it's just like you're an awesome person and awesome people will come to you and good people will come to you. So I thought, I'm like, side hustles, my question would be, you're good at what you do, you're a good person. What other things would you think about if it wasn't for finance to build something bigger, if you would? Like, I mean, your time is precious now.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to build?
I haven't thought of that. Like, are you saying like building a business? Or are you talking about just like, for me right now, it's just like spending more time with family. Like if you're talking about building, it's like I told you, my little kid's a little shit. And it's my, I wanna build that fucker up, to be a good kid instead of getting the shit all the time. This is where like I wanna spend most of my time with guidance and stuff. But to build a business, I'm always looking. I was talking with Alex about like Churro and other, this like, but how much time is it gonna take for me to be involved in this car sharing or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And I'm always looking at stuff, franchises, do a fresh slice, but I don't wanna work. I would wanna be an absentee owner and just get something off the top and have people run it.
Mhm.
But, it's like, but there's a lot of work. Like I have, a client, he's got 4 subways and he has his son running 3 of them, and he goes to that 4th one, like it's the big one in like Nordell or whatever. And he's like, I gotta go there every lunchtime to help with the lunch run. Like, cause he's doing these big orders to schools or wherever. I was like, so he's not really off, right? And he's like 63, and he's like, but it's the biggest store. Because the other 3 stores is like a regular job. Like if he didn't have his son running the 3, he would have to put a manager in each one, which then dilutes his income. But thank God he's got a son to run those 3, right? So yeah, he's like, it was a bad buy for those 3. He just thought that he was gonna expand and whatever, and he's just like, it's just, if you and I were to buy one of them, it's like you just bought a job that pays you $60K a year. That's what he said. And you have to be there to run that thing. Because if you're not, you're gonna be paying someone else $40K or $45, $50K to manage it, and then you're just taking like $10K off the top. That's it, right? To be absentee. This is not worth it.
Yeah. So my next question on top of that would be, like, if you were able to help this subway guy, you with your background, is that something that you'd be like, hey, you're able to pick it with records at 100%? That's really high, and then you knock on wood. Is that something that you'd be able to help with that client? Be like, hey, you know what? I can help you choose a good person and to manage the subway so that you're not in there.
No, I don't have that. I don't have that force. I don't have the skills for that. No, I don't have the skills for that.
I'm just wondering what maybe skills you need to be like a transferable in a different industry, or let's say I'm doing my martial arts or personal training, but like I want to create this empire where I'm hiring personal trainers and I want to make sure that they're good. I can train and develop. However, I'm like, is that something that you'd be able to help me with, like find like good people? Or
that would be tough for me, because that's a different skill set that you
Yeah.
bring.
Yeah.
You know, see, I know nothing about martial arts.
Mhm.
You would, but for me, it'd be like, is this guy hungry enough to stay with me and be consistent in being under you, to teach, to train and all that stuff? That's something I can't tell. I wouldn't be able to tell,
Mhm.
right? Because that's something where your skill, you being able to see, how's this person, are they gonna be able to like help me grow my business? Are they gonna stay or are they gonna leave? That's the biggest thing with businesses today, is that a lot of people just leave. They don't wanna do it, or they've done it for like so long previously before they came to you, and like, I'm actually done with this.
Mhm.
You know, and then you're like, oh, you've only been with me for like 4 months,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know pay structure or whatever, all that kind of stuff, because people want money, right? And to keep people, you know, even look, doctors, physicians, people can't keep those, people can't keep nurses, and your nurses make like 100K a year, and they're like, fuck, I'm out of here, I don't want to deal with this shit. So it's like, that's everywhere. No one wants to really work. People just want to just chill out, right? Like Wu Jay.
I think the key message here is, if you want a good team, hire good people.
Yeah.
And I think for Jeff, if you want good tenants, find good tenants.
Yeah.
Right? He has a system in place where he's vetting them, finding out the information, and then he has to think about it afterwards.
Mhm.
And so if I'm just listening to your conversation, what can you take from Jeff and his experience and implement it as a kind of a create a system for you to make sure that all of the trainers that you get are good people, are hungry, want to stick around, do the good work.
It is. That's something that I do want to think about, because at this point, when I think of martial arts or training, it's me wanting to train and develop my own students instead of outsourcing or hiring from external. It's just, hey, I've trained you as a kid. Now you come up and I know what you like, what you don't like. Am I able to trust them? Absolutely. I'm the one that's able to help them grow. Can I pay them more money? Absolutely. What do they need? Oh, I need university. I would love to fund him more, because I've seen him since he was younger. So that's something that I like and I love, and I would do everything for that. However, it's, if I want to expand, I'm thinking, what are some things that I gotta look into? Because I do trust people easily, but then I just, if they, I feel that I get backstabbed, I just like shut down, and then they're just done out.
Yeah.
And I do that, and I've talked to my father about that. He's just like, you got to fix that personality. You got to find ways of how to mend this, that, instead of just be like, done, you're out. I don't trust you anymore. I'm like, why? Like, he's like, no, people are people and they have their reasons. I'm like, that's a lot of things to think about. So, this brings up like, either grow something small, or how can I grow something big, as in help the community, grow martial arts school that's similar to like a Kingsman thing, where I could be like, hey, I know I can trust you to be at each location, because I know it's not only for the finances, it's to actually grow the community.
Yeah.
Grow people, to grow the next generation, to help everyone be better. So that's where I want to go.
I think that's the question you asked that individual.
Mhm.
What do you want to do? Is it just a job for you? Because, you'll have like maybe a mission statement or something like that, right?
Yeah.
What you want for your business, for your martial arts club or whatnot, right? But you said it like, I think you start small and then get the referral base there.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, the referral base and starting small is really important. I think maybe even Clement can talk to that, I'm curious to know, Clement, if you have time. You were once a beginner realtor, right? And now you have a decent client base. You started small somewhere. How did that go for you? And how can you kind of apply that to what Andrew's saying or asking?
Referral. Yeah, the thing with real estate, since it's a higher ticket item, like once you make the sale, like you have a bit more to do uh, in terms of like reach outs and stuff like that. I know there's some agents that creates these client appreciation events, and then they would like invite all their clients in, have some hors d'oeuvres or like some drinks there, and just chat with each other. Maybe connect two of your clients together if they're looking for some kind of, I don't know, maybe some business idea, or if someone's looking for like a doctor or a surgeon or whatever, connect people together. And then that in turn creates a good relationship between you two, and those parties as well, and they'll be appreciative of you. Also, if you continue doing good work, these people will see it and they will come back to you eventually. I have this client that I helped them purchase um, an investment property, and then because one of their parents was giving them like a little down payment or something to help them to purchase a townhouse, they had to use their parents' agent for a little bit to purchase that townhouse. But now, coming back to the sale of their investment property, they came back to me. I mean, like I guess like, it's because they like me. And it's not because I give them more money back in kickbacks, right? In fact, I give like very little to none, if any. And I'm only giving it to them because they're like, they're coming back to me, right? But yeah, if you continue doing good work, like they'll come back to you to do more business with you and refer you to people too.
Yeah, I agree with that. You guys have probably heard the saying, be so good that they can't ignore you. Just like Jeff, you're good at what you do, right? I'm not gonna say, well, I doubt Jeff, you can do it. No, I know he can do it, right? I'm not gonna ignore you. So same with you, Clement, oh, he did some great work for me before. I go find someone else to do some of this, but I'm gonna go back to Clement because I can trust, I like, know, and trust him, right? Yeah, so hopefully that helps you, Andrew.
Yeah.
And to Jeff's point about starting small, I know you're a big visionary. We know this about you, but you gotta start somewhere and find that one person and then watch the snowball kind of take effect, right? Do you have someone in mind? To partner with you and to say, hey, I'm trying to build this empire, but I need someone to, teach while I'm in Korea.
There are a few. That's why Sean. We're looking at partnering with Sean.
Yeah.
And I talked about bringing clients in. How would I structure a contract? Whereas should it be commission based? Should it be referral based? Or should it be like a bigger like a bonus? Or sorry, what's that word? Like a referral fee. So that's something that I thought of. I do need to communicate with him better. And come out with a good contract, as well as what other schools can partner with. Do I need to open up my own school and have me come in and teach, or can I just work as a contractor and just do that with the martial arts studios within the community? Because I think that's a lot faster in growing the community, whereas. There's always good realtors, bad realtors, but in martial arts and PT, it's the same thing. I've seen martial arts that just for lack of a better term, just suck. They're in it for the money and they do well and the business does well, but I'm like, you don't give a shit about your clients. And then there's nothing that I can do about that. But if you ask me, would I refer any kids or to go to that school? I'm like, no. Can you learn this? And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna learn how to punch and kick and you're gonna lose weight. But do they care about you? Like, no, they don't care about you. So those are schools that I'm like, I don't want to partner with. They're okay to do their business. However, to me, I'm like, I want to grow something that's bigger for people that actually care about the kids. You might not make millions. However, if you grow big enough as a community, I'm sure you can get support or investments that can grow something bigger. And that's where I want to.
I think it's, you say a good point, pick your partners.
Yeah.
And because Sean, I know you don't know the background, but stick around, you'll get it. Jean is more than just a partner. He's a friend.
Sean's a friend, he's a brother.
Right. So whatever connection and agreements you guys come up, I would suggest, co-create those.
Yeah.
Go with him with a kind of a template, if you will. And have you created an agreement yet?
No, I haven't. And we're actually going to talk about it this week because I have the daycare graduation next week.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let's, we just finished the black belt exam. I've had a few people come in do the black belt. That was yesterday. And then with the daycare grad, he said, you're all busy. I'm like, yeah, because in the morning I'm at the daycare trying to create a program that's martial arts for 2, 3, 4-year-olds. I'm like, that's dealing with 4-year-olds at Taekwondo. I'm like, that was hard, but 2-year-olds is just.
All right, so let's
Anyways, yeah.
put this in concrete and formalize it. And my challenge to you is get this agreement on paper or on a Word, Excel file, whatever it is you use, and send that to the group before your conversation with Sean.
I'll get the agreement with Sean in place.
Yeah. So if you want us to, give feedback or whatever, agreement number 1, I will have commission-based, referral fees for every kid that comes in, $200, I get 10%. It doesn't have to be concrete, but this is something that you created, kind of laid out, and making sure that it's actually worthwhile for you, so that you get what you want and it's fair, you believe it's fair for him and you, to maintain that good relationship you have. Because this is your stepping stone into whatever it is you're trying to build later on.
Mhm.
And so once you get those down on paper and formalize it, I'm sure the guys will agree, hey, we'll take a look and be like, I don't think this one's gonna fly, or,
Yeah, it is. It's something that I do want to get feedback on, because again, not only a friend, he's actually a very close brother. We say we're brothers. Just 2 weeks ago, I'm over at his house because his sister had a birthday.
there you go.
And we're eating. His uncle and sister had a birthday, and I'm at his house. My mom just came from Korea. We're eating, and so it's just we're like brothers. He feels closer to me than my cousins at the moment.
There you
So,
go.
and my cousins split or do with financials, and I'm like, Korean drama stuff I never think I'd ever see, but it's reality.
Just like the movies.
Yeah, it is. But I'm like, this is something that I do not want with anyone.
And
Yeah.
being upfront about that is actually really healthy, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Right?
It is.
So be like, buddy to buddy, Jeff, I want to create a partnership with you. I don't want to screw you over. I don't want to be screwed over.
Sure.
Let's build something together.
Yeah.
And here are some things to kind of put together, but it's not in concrete. Let's do this together.
Yeah, that's something that we did discuss, and he said the same, I said the same. He just has to be a little bit careful because his wife isn't working, well, she's a stewardess, and she's not working with Air Transat anymore. She might be going to Air Canada, however, that's, less pay or this or that, or something like that. I don't know if it's less pay with Air Canada, but something, or less time spent at home. So, yeah, it is something that we just got to discuss. How long?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks?
Sorry?
Yeah,
Put
to
it
come up, I
together.
think, right? Yeah.
Well, before you talk to this guy, you're talking to him this week or next week?
This week.
This week.
Right. So have something to bring to him before your conversation. And then if you want feedback from us, happy to give it to you, but get something on paper before you go talk to him.
Okay.
Right? And shoot it to the group. Jeff's not in the private group right now, but I'm happy if you want his feedback too.
Absolutely.
I can share it.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like a 5-page essay, it's just
Yeah.
10 points or something, right?
No, and it is something, because I could probably throw in there the agreements, or that agreement that I had with my previous partner,
There you go.
and it didn't fly through, and he just wanted, hey, we're just friends, and let's just do this all like verbal. If we go through it, like, I don't want to set up lawyers and pay for this, or
Yeah,
change
yeah,
my sole proprietor to incorporate in this, that, I'm like, but that's why I wrote it here. If I could be able to bring you up from 30 to 70 clients, then let's switch over, and then I could buy out shares and this and that, but it didn't follow through. It's like, oh, you know, I'm going through divorce and this and that. I'm like, okay, that's your personal stuff, but this.
Yeah.
So that was actually very difficult. It took. I
You should have
took it personal. Yeah, I don't talk to him.
Right. And I think that when you're going about your business, because you're on the cusp of like, oh, I'm gonna make this, it's mine, it's big, I'm gonna, you're very motivated.
Yeah.
Your past buddy here wasn't as motivated,
Mhm.
but I think, maybe, I know he had that personal stuff too, but you gotta be sensitive to that. I know you have your business here, you have your buddy here, and he's going through some stuff. I think you'd be like, instead of like just shutting him out, be like, I get it. You gotta be more sensitive to, I think, right? And that, because he may come around,
Yeah.
right? But it's like you hoped he was gonna be part of this vision.
Mhm.
And when he didn't, because he can't.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm done with you. Right? And that's when you try to refocus on your friendship then, rather than the business.
It is hard.
It's hard.
It is hard, and I did try. And that lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, 2 years is long for me, and I'm like, I get it, I understand. However, let's get this business going. There's times I didn't come out, there's times that he didn't pick up his calls, and I'm just like, I can't run this. It's me running your business.
Yeah.
Without anything that we followed up on. And then he disappeared for like 2-3 days, and I'm like, I'm coming into your business and running this school. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, sorry, I got arrested or something. I'm like, you know what, like, let me know. And then one day, like, his friend would come. I know this is all like his personal stuff. His friend would come, be like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna leave early. I'm like, why are you gonna leave early? He's like, oh, my friend's here. I'm like, does your friend not know you work? Either that, or did you tell him to come during your working hours? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like, so either you said it's okay, or your friend's like pretty disrespectful, or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's not okay. He's like, but I'm like, yeah, okay, go, because your friend's already here. I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
But just, I want to communicate. Because when this happens, I'm like, the parents will see this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, these two masters, they don't communicate well. I'm like, I don't want my reputation to be like that.
Yeah.
And from there on, that's when it started going sideways. And then, is he cut off? I would say no, but would I want to do business with him? No. Can I trust that he can run the school? I'm like, I don't know at this point, because there's days that he would just close and parents would call me like, hey, is it class today? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, oh, because the school was closed or something. I'm like, wow, this is what happened in Korea.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how is that okay? I'm like, that is not okay. But then I'm in another pickle right now, because his ex-wife is calling me, and she's like, I know I see the motivation, this and that in you. And she has her own business with Ariel and yoga. She's like, if we set up in partnership and do it, or yoga and taekwondo, I'm like, hey, you know what? She's like, I see the ambition. I'm like, she's good. She set up the website and everything. She does more. I'm like, she's ambitious. She knows where she's going. She even signed for like the custody of the child. She's like, yeah, you're not fit to be a good dad, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if I partner with her, I think it could go places. However, I'm like, my friend that I know, he's like,
Yeah.
why you talking to her? I'm like,
All right, so being cognizant of time here, we can go on this forever.
yeah.
Take what you've learned from your past, Jace,
Yeah.
and apply that tip with Sean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna make those mistakes again.
Mhm.
Plan on
Absolutely,
success,
yes.
right?
Mhm.
And then, well, whether you decide to partner with a wifey, I don't know, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But Doesn't sound like, if you want to keep Jason as a buddy, maybe not. But yeah, come up with the agreements.
Mhm.
Keep all your lessons in mind and throw it to us.
Okay.
Dave, I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna do a quick round again. Do you have any questions about this? I know side hustles and whatnot after listening.
Yeah, actually, once I was listening, I started to think of some questions. I guess the big one was when you said, Jeff, that you had to fire yourself, right? And like you're a parent just like I am, and you want to spend as much time you want as you can with your kids. And you haven't, like you said, like the business is good the way you have it now, and I guess your responsibilities. How much time are you dedicating to the property management? And I'm guessing, like, obviously when you were new at this, you were obviously dedicating a lot more time, right? Like you wanted to get it started up, you had to build up, I guess, your clientele, you had to build up your contacts. I guess rough ballpark, like when you started, how much time were you dedicating to this? And then at what point did you get to like get to figure out that, maybe I should scale it back because I do have my regular job, I have my family responsibilities. Yeah, I guess maybe how much time did it take? That'd be my question.
To scale, like I didn't try to scale. Like for me, time wise, in the beginning, I wasn't very efficient with my time, with my own properties. I remember doing showings and like I'm scattered all over the place. Like it's a Monday night from like 7 o'clock. And then, I got another one at 8 o'clock, another one at 8:30. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they're all over. And now I get it where, I'll put an ad up on like Thursday night, Facebook, Craigslist, Zumper. And then I will source all those, messages and whatever. And like, yeah, Saturday, 2 o'clock. So the next one, are you available 2:15 on Saturday, 2:30, like every 15 minutes. And then I'd be doing it from 2 to 5 p.m. And that's it. I got more efficient with the scheduling of it. So to scale it up, like it's like realtor buddies, it's all referrals. So it wasn't something that I had to like advertise and stuff. If you're to say, Jeff, like how much time do you actually spend on this? Yesterday I was, at a place doing showings from 2 to 4, and 20-minute drive out, 20-minute drive back home, and then that was it. And then a tenant messaged me, hey, there's a leak, we think it's the AC. Okay, here, contact this guy. Oh, hey, this house here, the toilet wasn't working, it's not working, here, call this plumber. Done. I don't have to go out, right? Then once I get the bills from everyone, I will fire them off to the owners and they'll reimburse me. I e-transfer the plumbers or the trades and stuff like that. So I don't have to go out. I got gardeners. They'll go out to the places and stuff like that. I don't have to physically be at a property unless I have to do showings to like find a tenant. So when everything is like all rented out and I'm just at home, maybe I spend like maybe an hour a week, maybe 2 hours a week. It's not much time, right? Like you're saying you're doing Uber. I talked to an Uber driver a couple weeks ago, and he said last year in Vancouver, he made $187,000 full time, right? He's doing like 5 in the morning till 10:30 in the morning, and then in the afternoon at 2:30 to 7. And that's all he did. I was like, holy Jesus. It's like, it's good. But now this year, he's like, I'm gonna make like 62,000. I said, what happened? He's like, everyone's getting their license. and that's what happened to him, right? When I was in Montreal, we had an Uber guy. He was doing like the black, whatever, the black S, whatever it is, some kind of a elite premium. And I just needed a ride from Trudeau Airport to pick up my Turo car, right? And it's like a 10-minute drive to the Ultramar gas station to pick up. And it was like $30, and he's like, I would not have picked you up, Jeff, but I've been waiting for 2 hours to get to someone to, get a call, right? I was like, really? He's like, yeah, because everyone else will take like the economy ones, right? First, right? I was just like, fuck this, let's just take it. He's only like 2 minutes away. Let's get it done, right? I got kids, right? So, I don't know what the average income is there for, that side hustle in Montreal, but here it seems like there was a girl, she leased a Tesla Model Y to make her $1150 a month payment, and she's like, she works like 14 hours a day. Yeah, every day she's working. I'm just like, she's good, but she's like, are you making a lot? Just like, maybe I make myself like, after everything is paid, maybe like, 6,000. I was like, that's not bad. It's not bad, 6,000 after everything, her lease and all that stuff. So, but every day, 14 hours, she's got no kids. That's okay, I guess, but.
Doesn't sound like she's gonna have kids. I mean, if I may chime in, listening to Jeff and your question was really great. Thanks, Dave. Systems and people help is what it really comes down to. Jeff has a system. He knows what he has to do, congregate them all into Saturday. At the beginning, he didn't really have a system. But then once you start building those systems and you can replicate them, it becomes so much easier. So especially for you, you have a system for onboarding, a system for marketing, a system for, graduating and training them to become part of your company. There's these kind of small siloed systems that will build your empire, right? But now you're setting the groundwork for all that. And you got to go through the shit. You got to go through the mistakes and figure it out and tweak it, right? But look, if you look at it this way, Dave, property management is a wonderful thing because the time commitment, like how many times does one renter contact you in a year?
Could be a couple times.
Right. So you got 91 properties. Say each of them contact him twice a year. It's like 180 times a year.
Yeah.
And each time you resolve an issue, how long does that take roughly?
A minute.
So it takes them about 200 minutes to resolve all these problems for 91 rental properties. So I don't know, Dave, if you're doing the mental math here, that's like 4 hours.
The tough stuff I find is houses. Houses are a pain in the ass because it's like you got gutters, you got fascia boards, you got just and then you got like ant issues and stuff like that. Those are the problems. With condos, easy.
So Dave, if you want to get into property management, go find some people to rent out condos for.
Yeah. But I've had some where, I had one, a penthouse in New West, and there was a leak, and the strata caretaker said, "Oh, it's coming from PH1, my unit." And I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, we'll call the guys out." The plumber comes out, and they changed the wax seal on the toilet. And they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's what it is." They flushed, no leak into the unit below. Well, the tenant messaged, "Hey, it's still leaking downstairs. It smells like shit." And I said, "Oh man, well," he's like, "Jeff, let me get my own plumber." I said, "Okay, get your own plumber." They get their own plumber, and he says, "It's not PH1, it's PH2. Well, Strata sent me a bill for $1,300 for, a non-fix. I said, look, this is not my bill because it wasn't my issue. It was PH2. So me dealing with Strata, that was time. And I said, this is not the bill. This is not my bill. This is your bill, right? I still had to pay the bill for the plumber who came up to change, to check everything out. I had to pay his fees like $180, but better than paying a $1,300 bill, right? So there's some of that work for like Strata stuff, right? If you're doing a condo, it's easier than a house for the most part. But when stuff like that happens, then you're like, holy shit, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, they do happen rarely, far and few, but
Yeah.
be aware, right, for those, right? Does that help, Dave?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. Sorry, my air fryer is going off, so about. I guess, how did you, like, I know you kind of explained how you kind of got into it and started by having your own property, 19, getting another one at 20, but like, for someone with, like I was doing Uber, if I am doing it, I haven't done it in about a month because I've been doing a lot of traveling with work and overtime. But I was only doing it like Friday night, Saturday night, because those were the only nights where I felt like I was actually making money. I did it a bit during the holidays just to see if it was worth it to do it, like go out of my schedule. But it wasn't, which I guess is similar in Vancouver. But just to start up, like, how did you, like, let's say if you were me and you wanted to, like, let's say get one customer. Yeah, not one. So I guess, yeah, or maybe just try to find one unit for someone. What would you do? Like, how would you even start? It's the first thing you would have to do.
Do you have family that have like a rental that they need assistance with? Like the merchant community is huge in Montreal, right? Is there someone that's like, they're getting older and they don't have time for this shit, right? And they don't want to deal with headaches, because that's a lot of my clients. They're like, they don't want to deal with the tenant. They hate vetting tenants. That's the biggest thing. A lot of my clients don't want to talk to tenants. They don't want to deal with finding one. They don't want to deal with the fixing crap. They just want you to handle it. You know what I mean? And because you're in Montreal, like there's a lot of Merchants there that like I find like the tenants in Montreal are tough to deal with. They're all like tenancy board, or they don't want you to raise the rent on them and all that kind of stuff. Like I have aunts and uncles over there that own like buildings, like those 18-unit walk-ups, 25-unit walk-ups, and they're just like, Jeff, I wish you were here. You could deal with this. I'm like, I don't think I want to deal with those tenants there. It's just a different animal, right? Yeah, so when I was just there, my uncle was giving me stories like, oh, this lady, and she's so tough to deal with. We fixed the toilet. It's like every time we don't know what she's putting down the toilet, but every time it's always plugged. We replaced the toilet and it still gets like, her shits must be so hard just plugging up the toilet. It's just such a, so I was like, I laugh. I said, I don't want to deal with your tenant. And that's another thing. I have inherited tenants where I didn't place them, and they pay on time, but dealing with them, I hate dealing with them because they're not my type of people. And I'll tell you right now, that is work. That's a lot of work, because, I had one guy last year, he's like, Jeff, the owner, she gave me a studio size oven in a house and a studio size fridge, and we replaced them. I'm like, okay. So now, Jeff, our stove isn't working. So can you get someone to fix it? I said, I'm not gonna get someone to fix your stove. I will get the owner, I'm gonna talk to them and get them to buy a new one. Okay, and they're just like, no, just fix our stove. Like, no, you fix your stove. I will get you a new one. Anyways, in the end, I got them a new one, and he's like, oh, thanks, whatever, fine. 2 months later, the fridge goes. He bought the fridge. I was like, Jeff, can you fix our fridge? I'm not gonna fix your fridge. You fix it. You fix your fridge. I will try to get you a new one. She's like, you're not gonna get a new one. I was like, I'm gonna try. She's like, Susan's not gonna buy one. She's so cheap. I got him a new fridge with the water dispenser, with the ice maker, you know? That's what I do. Like, she is a cheap lady, but I tell her and provide her, you know, like the reason why she get to buy a new fridge with warranty, all that kind of crap, right? And your tenants will be happier for it. So that's me trying to, like, you know, just provide, I don't know, just that guidance to owners as well. But the tenant, they are the ones that I inherit. They are a lot of work. I don't enjoy it. That probably I spent, like, with that guy, just for those 2 items, I probably spent like 2 hours, you know? Whereas if it was my own tenant, it would be like, okay, I've called the appliance store, when are you available, and coordinate, and then they would just receive delivery, install, done. That's it. I wouldn't have to deal with talking about, no, let me replace, no, fix it. I'm gonna have to deal with that conversation and get irritated.
So yeah, Dave, I guess the underlying message is find some people that can, that you have or have rental properties that maybe you can help with, would be a good first start, right? And then these little nuances will come up, and you know, you guys are gonna be connected. Today is not the last day you're gonna see Jeff. You guys can feel free to message him if that's okay, Jeff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And ask him questions, but yeah, hopefully that helps, Dave, to get you kickstarted if this is what you want to do.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that.
Dude, when you get that client, it's like, hey, take this guy over. You're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And like, holy fuck. Hope this is worth it.
But you gotta get your feet wet somehow. So I'm being cognizant of time. You guys good for the cultural deep dive today?
Yeah.
You guys are supposed to meet with your buddies. Oh, what is this? All right. You good? You and Wujay?
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we'll kick it off to Wujay. We'll take a quick, 5-minute bio break, and then we'll come back for this. Yeah? All right. I'm gonna run to the washroom. I don't know if you guys need to. I'll show you where it is. There you go.
I will.
Yeah.
Can I have this cookie?
You can have as many cookies as you want. It's fun.
There's only one cookie.
I saved the cookie for Clement, but it didn't come. So. I think it's time to go see a doc.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you're cupping.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah. Shit.
I mean, nowadays, watching the parents, the elders getting older, and like us, we're not getting younger.
Yeah.
These things, non-neglectable, man.
Yeah.
Especially for a year.
Yeah.
All right. Wujay, you there, bud?
Yeah.
Awesome. How you guys want to do this?
I'll start with the first 5 questions, and then Andrew will finish the rest.
Awesome. Okay, so just to give a bit of background, we have this thing, an exercise. We're doing a cultural deep dive. We've been together since 2 years now. But really, we never gone this way because we have come from different backgrounds. We got Koreans, Mauritians, Chinese, all this stuff, and there's stuff we just don't know about the culture. And so we're always in this, personal development, professional development, and spiritual development, and all this amalgamated. I created this exercise called the cultural deep dive, where I gave them a bunch of questions, and then I'll hopefully give you an insight into how they think, what they do, why they do, taboos we should watch out for. Might be useful for tenants, right? So, without further ado, let's go, Vijay.
Okay, so Andrea and I are both Korean, and the major holiday for us is Chuseok. This happens around in like late September. The dates are not the same every year because it's based on lunar calendar, but for this year it's going to be on September 28th till September 30th. Essentially, like Chuseok is a Korean Thanksgiving, and the main activity is like we prepare food for our ancestors. So it's a huge, it's a load of work especially for the woman in the family, because there's like a huge table and there's like all sorts of food that need to be prepared. Question 2, our main dish is kimchi. It's the most common dish in like Korean cuisine. We eat this almost like all the time, like with every meal. So it's always prepared like as a side dish, whatever you eat. And we have, in a typical household, we have a separate refrigerator for kimchi because it requires like a different temperature, like ideal temperature needs to be a little bit warmer than like your typical refrigerator. And we need that extra space because when you make it, you make a lot at once. So we need a bigger storage unit. And what's fascinating about kimchi is that it's not always that like there's like a lot of variations. And when you Google, it'll tell you that there's like 100 different types of kimchi. So you can make it with cabbage, but also with like radish or even cucumber. And it could be like water-based too. So it's not just the fermented cabbage, the red kimchi. So there's lots of types. Question 3. So for us, what's unique is that we respect like the elderly and the ancestors. So what happens is like, for example, in Chuseok or like the major holidays, we visit like the graves of our ancestors. Not necessarily like if you celebrate like your holiday in like Seoul, it's hard to do, but like if you're from a family, like for me, like we go to countryside, then we go to like the graves, and what happens is like you bow down like on the ground in front of the grave, and you pour alcohol on the graves to respect them. Yeah. Question 4. Any major historical figures or events? Like we had this war with Japan in 1592. It's called Imjin War, and there was a great admiral Yi Sun-shin, and he's one of the most admired figures in Korean history. And we have a statue of him in this place called Gwanghwamun. It's a major like a square in the capital. So what's significant about him is that he defeated the Japanese invasion. And there was a notable battle in that war called Myeongyang, and it's famous because like, Yi Sun-shin and his army had just like 23 ships, and they defeated like a whole fleet of like 300 Japanese warships. So yeah, they made like a lot of movies about it. I think this year there's a new movie coming out about this historical figure. So yeah, you guys can check it out. And lastly, question 5, any like art craft? So there's two that stand out. Hanbok, which is the traditional like clothing for Korean. It has like vibrant colors and has exquisite embroidery, and the technique used are pretty much the same for any country though. Like it's like weaving, dyeing, and sewing. Another craft is the like a pottery, and like a specific type of pottery called celadon pottery, and it's a type of green glazing pottery, and it dates back to Goryeo dynasty. It's Goryeo was before Chosun, and that was around like 500 AD, 700 AD. And what's special about it is like we mix like a small amount of iron powder to create that unique glazing, like the green color look.
Nice, thank you. 100 plus types of kimchis?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, it's different types of like fermenting and this and that. Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Thanks, Wujie. We'll save the question for the end.
How does your culture view family and community relationships? Where are some customs or value related to family life? It was a bit difficult when we looked at this. It was because being born and raised in Canada and then having Korean parents and cultures. I know my parents raised me a little bit Canadian, as well as not losing the Korean the culture. But when I go to Korea, it's just like, it's hounded on me. How come you don't speak Korean? You don't read and write? And this happened for a long time. So with my background, being a little bit less Korean than Ujie, I guess growing up, there was like a little bit of an identity crisis as well. So I'm like, oh, it'd be good to be partners with Ujie, and so understand a little bit more about Korean. The culture, community relationship is like, it's the most important, like family, everything is important. Family, cousins, uncle, aunts, everything. And that actually goes into one of the last questions too, in regards to like, what are sensitive topics, taboo. It's Korean being such an emotional language, not situational. It's the way you say things is very important. It could be like, I'm hungry, or I'm hungry. Like the tonality is very important. Not only with just being hungry, it's, are you okay? Or like, are you okay? There's different tones, and it's just, and it was hard for me to understand, even with colors. Blue and blue and blue, like there are different shades of blue, and I didn't understand it. So with that being said, how does my family view community relationship? It's just stick together. Just each culture, like you being Korean, me being Korean, our families could all be completely different. And what our family values is, well, we could offend someone else just by saying something else different.
Are you serious? You guys haven't seen us the whole time?
Yeah, I told you they couldn't see us.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
And the customs. Yeah, customs is just nowadays more, they're trying to be more modernized, how they're sticking parents in senior homes. And however, it's like the old take care of the young as you grow, and then it changes. Whereas when you grow older, you take care of the parents. So when you let's say when I get married, it's the person I choose to marry would come into my family, would come into the Lee family, and she'd live with us for 2-3 years, find out what our family values are and everything, and how our family cooks, and then she's the lead. So we would, as a firstborn male, we would have to take care of the family, and whereas that's what it used to be like. It's not necessarily always like that, and so when that happens, the firstborn usually gets, when the parents pass, like the property and things like that. That's that. Number 7, what are the traditional clothing styles? It's the hanbok, which is the Korean traditional men and women. There's different colors, the all black being like for death, sorrow. But for me, I'm just like, well, it's really colorful. Hanbok is really colorful. Canada Day for me, I'm just like, oh, just red and white, just Canada Day, July 1st. So whenever I wear a hanbok, it's just so colorful. These buttons and this, and I'm like, oh, that's, yeah, growing up to me, that was just like, that's gay. I hated that. And my dad always got mad at me. I was like, why am I wearing pants that are just like this? I'm like, he's wearing like a purple, red, orange thing. I'm like, the fuck is he wearing? But it's traditional. It's like, this is the Korean. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Korean. This is stupid. But for New Year's Day, we always had to do it. We always had to bow, and I'm just like, okay, well, getting the money part, I'm okay with that. Every time you bow, it's okay.
Bring out the hanbok.
Yeah.
And the red pockets.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys need red pockets?
It's just money.
Oh, it's straight up money. There's
Yeah.
no hiding it.
No, but
you
the
go
thing
to
is, that's the thing
value.
about, but red money. But when I had my Chinese friends, I'm like, oh man, I'm like, all right, I got like $500. He's like, really? My aunt gave me 500. I got like 5,000. I'm like, fuck, I should have been born Chinese. The Koreans are giving me like $300-$400. Yeah, so that's the traditional clothing significance. Just New Year's attached to that, and any special occasion like Chuseok or things like that, wearing traditional clothing. However, it's slowly being more modernized or being more Western. There are people that still keep that culture. How can you share any traditional music or dance forms that are popular in your culture? Are there any specific instruments or rhythm associated with them? Arirang is a song that happened a long time ago with the North and South Korea in regards to unifying the two. They're still, I don't think they're ever going to come together. However, Kayagum, let's just search it. Why did it disappear? Kayagum is an instrument that's similar to like a violin/guitar, and it was mainly played by women in the past. However, now it can be played with anyone. So this is what it looks like. CD.
Oh yeah,
Right.
cool.
And that's what I searched Kayagum. I don't know what I know about it, not much. However, it's a mixture of this and that. When you listen to it, they say it's Korean music, but it's like a mixture between Korean, Japanese, Chinese. It's just like the old Asian music. How does your culture perceive and express notions of hospitality and politeness? Are there any specific customs or gestures that reflect these values? This is where Taekwondo came more into play. You invite friends over, we have potlucks, things like that, everything. You wanna, even with the drinking, the culture in Korean is just like, hey, let's grow, like everything we go together. However, being an emotional language and culture, it's just watch what you say. Everything is, there's always about status. You drink, you smoke, it's always gotta be, there's always the status like seniors and juniors. If you're older or if you're younger, let's say if you are older than me, I'd have to cheers with you, my glass would be below your glass. If I drink it, I have to drink away from you. But if both of you are older than me, I have to turn this way.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
So it's showing disrespect. Like I would not chew with my mouth open. I would not drink something and show the inside of my mouth to you. And be like, what the heck are you doing kind of thing. It just shows that level of status. It's like, it's crazy. And again, growing up here, I didn't understand it. And people are just like, when I'm just like, cheers, they're like, turn away. I'm like, why? And same with that. You would never pour your own glass of beer, wine, alcohol. It's someone else who have to pour it for you. It's disrespectful to the point where it's, why do I have to pour my own glass if I'm here to drink with you? Yeah. So where it's here, I'm just like, hey, cheers, you want another beer? Yeah, I'm gonna grab another beer from my own. Yeah, they're like, no, it's also becomes disrespectful to my friend. Like, I'm here. I can do it. Like, are you just, disregarding me? Yeah, you don't see me kind of thing.
Huh.
So that's with like this drinking, but the eating is the same. It's become less and less, but families that are very traditional, the elders, the seniors would eat first. Well, say in my family, I wouldn't touch my food. I wouldn't be able to eat before my dad did. He wouldn't touch it until his father or uncle, older brothers, things like that did too. Yeah, so customs, politeness, always bowing, two hands or one hand. I think that came within the culture. If you see bow like this, let's say if you're shaking hands, we can shake hands, and this came before. And that's what I learned from martial arts, is where they're wearing the hanbok for a long time. When you pull this, I know different areas have a different sayings, different areas of Korea as well. But one area where I learned as well, learning martial arts, is when you do that and you have to pull your sleeve back, is pretty much saying, I have no weapons or anything here. So yeah, and same with two hands also, it's showing like really good respect, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be like, here, and this is hand, do something else. Yeah. Yeah, the last question was a bit difficult. Like, are there any taboo or anything that's sensitive? I think with emotions, anything like taboo, like anything can be taboo, anything sensitive. One thing I do notice about the Korean being different from the Canadian culture is they talk about in school, they talk about the reproductive system and the organs. However, they don't go through sex in this culture. That's more taboo. So it's just learned elsewhere. Like their parents don't talk about this. Your mom, if you go to your dad, they're like, hey, how are babies born? I don't think the kids, ask that, or I don't know if the parents know about the bees and the
Birds and bees.
Birds and bees. Yeah, I don't think they have that talk.
Yeah.
So that's really difficult.
Huh.
Yeah. How it's ironic because when you see Korea, you don't see a lot of singles. It's like everyone's a couple. There's like couples day and this and that. Everything's for couples. But I'm like, you just automatically assume that they're just, if they're couples, they're gonna sleep or this, that, but the parents don't talk about it. Or at least my parents haven't. My cousins and relatives, their uncles and aunts, they haven't. Like, we never talked about it. So it's just like, where's the time? It's just like you learn as you go, or I'm like, where is it? But growing up here, I'm like, I learned it from school. But my friend's dad, who's Caucasian, he's talked about it too. And later on, the one thing that I remember my friend's dad talking about, it was just like, you're a guy, and guys, guys get horny. There's a bunch of guys. Guys get horny and they'll want to do this. However, just if you think about one thing, and what did he say? It's a way of saying like, if you're gonna sleep with someone, it's because even if you mess up as a guy, take responsibility. Just like, just because you have a dick, he's just like, don't just play around with it and just sleep around just with whoever I can, because that means that shows that you're irresponsible. So if you choose who you want to sleep with, and if something happens, you better take full responsibility of it. So that's the only thing that I just remember. But that was my dad wasn't. He didn't say anything like that. So I think the sexual, that part is more taboo, and it's really no one really talks about it. Pornography is even illegal in Korea. That's another thing that I was just like, wow, you got a bunch of psychos and weirdos in Korea. But I'm like, oh, maybe because pornography is just illegal, and you see just different people, even the cameras. They are cameras, so they know that my camera's not from Korea, because when I take pictures, it doesn't make any sounds. Every picture or thing goes, or you can't silence the cameras in Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Samsung?
Any phone in Korea. Any phone in Korea, you can't silence. If you buy it in Korea, it has to make a sound.
Wow.
Yeah. If you take a picture or a video of it, it always makes a sound.
That's interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Don't you think they would want to, nip that in the bud and like make it so you can't silence it by educating people so they're not creepers, kind of thing?
Taboo? No, no one wants to talk about it. Or this and that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something to do more with like I gotta research, but I'm like, I don't want to research that. Like Korean's Korea, like.
But So I'm curious, Mujay, did you ever have the birds and the bees conversation? Like, who taught you about sex, if you don't mind?
It's a very conservative when it comes to sex. So
Okay.
there is sex education, but it's not like it here.
Okay, so you learned it here, not in Korea.
I don't know. I learned it.
Why are you
His wife is-
looking at your wife? Why are you looking at your wife?
She taught me.
Yeah, I think you just know before like someone else.
I didn't know.
But in Korea, yeah,
Hey,
the
not really.
illegal of
Yes.
porn and those camera thing, I think those are ideas of like Korea have like some bodies of government, and we have a body called woman's government, like woman's body. I don't think
Yeah.
there is much in Canada. Yeah, and those ideas all come from women's they have like a government, like a body called women's right or feminist, that thing.
Interesting.
Women in Korea are crazy. Lots of
Yeah, I think the education would alleviate quite a bit of, stress and
It would.
mishaps and stuff. And I'm curious to know, because they're not educated, how many accidental pregnancies happen because they don't know what the hell they're doing, right? Like, oh, let's just, have fun with their dicks and get them wet and, oh, oops.
That's one thing, sorry. Off topic, but personally, there's some,
That's what
when I went to
happened.
the Philippines, they might not do it specifically in Korea, but when you go somewhere else, and I went to Philippines, and that's what I was told. They're like, oh, watch out. I'm like, why? Like, suddenly women in Philippines, they look for Korean guys, they want to come over, excuse me. But they will come over to study abroad,
Yeah.
knock a girl up, and just leave. And I'm like, why?
What?
Like, just because. I'm like, okay, things like this can happen because they're not educated. But that's the thing that pissed me off. And I'm just like, man, I'm Canadian, but it makes me look so bad because when I'm in the Philippines, I'm Korean.
Yeah.
And they see you as one of those.
And they see me as a Korean.
Oh, man.
But the thing is, they don't fear me or anything. They're just, no, those one of those guys. They'll still come. They're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, this is weird. But I guess being, they said it's like in the part of the Philippines that I went to, Cebu, it was more, they're looking for to just live a better life.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like that. However, it's happened so much that it's become like a rumor in that area.
Interesting.
Mhm.
All right. Well, do you have any questions for them guys? Clement, Dave, Jeff?
Whose mom makes the best kimchi?
We just know.
You gonna say his mom?
No,
No.
No, you know what? I actually said that to my mom and she got mad. My sister got mad at me too. Because my mom's like, how's the kimchi? I'm like, it's all right. She's like, what do you mean it's all right? I'm like, Aunt's is better. And then she's like, you hurt mom's feelings. But why? I just told her the truth. And she's like, well, you gotta say it's good and it's the best kimchi ever. I'm like, but it's not. Aunt's kimchi is better. She's like, but that's her older sister. I'm like, well, her older sister got more experience. And my sister's like, you're an asshole. Like, and then my aunt's like, yeah, I got good kimchi. And then they started asking about this white kimchi, the watered down one that you eat in the summer. And then I'm just like, no, both of you aren't good. Grandma's is the best. And then Nicole was like, oh, but we tried. I'm like, yeah, you tried. It's good, but I'm just saying Grandma's is the best. So you guys could learn from her. And they're like, Andrew, sometimes you're just too honest. I'm like, fuck you, Koreans. Like,
Awesome. Dave, Clement, any questions?
Boji.
Yeah, any questions? No, Dave's well versed in the boji. Do you know what boji is?
No.
Please.
Boji is a Korean derogatory term for vagina.
Oh, okay. Fuji. Nice.
Yes, Boji.
You know what? Actually, I found it interesting when you were talking about the when you go drinking with a friend and all those rules that you have to like, I guess you have to do or whatever. And it was very confusing. I was like, man, if I ever go to Korea, I'll have to have you, Andrew, to tell me what to do. I don't want to get in trouble.
100%. Me not I didn't know that. I in grade 8. That's when all these Koreans flooded, and then I got slapped, and they're like, "What? Are you Korean?" But they say it in Korean. The Hanguk started me. I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Why are you not speaking the polite formal sound?" I'm like, "Why should I?" And they're like, "So you understand Korean?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Speak Korean." I'm like, "No, I don't want to." And they're like, you know, I'm older than you. I'm like, "I don't know who you are. You're maybe like 2 years older." It's like, "Okay, I'm older than you. You have to bow." I'm like, "Why?" And then that's when he slapped me. When I was in grade 8, so I'm like, "What the fuck? I hate Koreans. Like, who is this guy?" But yeah, I understand that now, and it was really bad back in the 90s. Where I don't know what it's now.
Do the rules apply if we're like Chinese and you're Korean? Like when you're drinking and stuff,
They don't care. See, that's the thing.
Huh?
So if you're Chinese or Mauritius white, if you're just like, "Ha ha," and I'm just gonna go cheers on top of you, they're like, "Oh, he's disrespectful." But if you're Korean, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
but it doesn't apply to you.
It doesn't apply to us.
See, that's the thing that makes me upset is it applies to me, but I'm like, I'm born and raised here, and they're like, "Yeah, but you should know it because your parents should have taught you." I'm like, you
I see. So
Yeah.
you're safe then, to say the least, Dave.
Yeah,
But he thinks it's unfair because
I do because I get this
he can.
Korean stuff handed out on me where like I should know it kind of thing.
Fair. All right, cool. Clement speaks Korean too, by the way.
Yes.
Oh.
He's more Korean than probably any of us here. Well, except for Wujie.
Maybe more Korean than me, got more bougie than me.
Actually, yeah, I do those things too, Korean too. Like I go like this and
Yeah.
shake hands like
What?
this,
This is it.
drink
Yeah.
There
like
you go.
this. You know, you cover
Yeah,
the
see?
mouth kind of thing. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, maybe you don't have any questions. Any comments? Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, he's pretty much covered everything. Oh, and the sound thing, it's normal for most phones in Asia because they have this problem of the creepers that keep, taking upskirt photos and videos. So that's why they have those. It's also in like Hong Kong too. So
Oh, it is.
yeah.
Is it because they're not educated and you'll have a bunch of creepers and
That I'm not too sure because I never took school in Hong Kong.
Sure.
I just know that they do because even like I think 20-ish years ago, like 15, 20 years ago, like they had that too, even with like not super smartphones, like and camera quality was still super bad. Even then, I noticed their phones had like shutter sounds, and we could not turn it off.
Huh.
For phones from Hong Kong.
Well, I'll tell you the rules not applicable in Thailand. They can silence anything they want. Actually, there's no rules in Thailand. Whatever, you got money, you can do whatever the fuck you want over there. Maybe, yeah, I wasn't going to, but I'm happy to do a presentation on Thailand for you guys. In the next one. You guys are gonna love this one.
I would love it.
Cool.
Didn't Thailand try to ban porn as well?
They can try.
Good.
Anyone tries that, you can find a black market guy just down the street selling porn DVDs like that are dubbed or whatever. What do you call them? Burnt, right? I went to this place called MBK, Mahung Kong. It's one of these like foreign malls. You can buy pretty much anything, man. It's like China, same thing. You can buy like these knockoff things, DVDs. And, I go into this store. I'm like so amazed. I was wanting to watch Avengers at the time. It just came out. I'm like, what the hell? Why is this on DVD?
Yeah.
Right?
Already.
And it's only 20 baht, which is less than $1. I'm like, holy, this place is heaven for me, right? So you can find anything there as long as you know the right people, have the money kind of thing, and your dollar there goes so far.
Yeah.
Like it's 1 to 25 now, and you can buy a meal for like 24 baht, 25 baht, like
1 to
30 baht, like $1.50.
I thought there was like 1 to 40 before.
No, it's that way. Yeah. So Thailand, it'll come soon. There's going to be an intensive there once sometime. But yeah,
How's the rental market in Thailand? How's the real estate market in Thailand?
It's actually pretty good. I know a lot of people who become realtors, which is weird, to sell and rent. They do both. They become property managers and realtors, and they can rent out these houses. Like you can get a fucking amazing house and rent it out for I think $3,000 a month, and it's like premium stuff. You got your own pool, you have your own driveway, private gated community, that kind of thing. They even have this retirement program. If you can sell your house here, rent a place there until the day you die. Okay, and that's the agreement. And then up until then, you have this gated community where you can have a servant, laundry, cooking, everything's done for you, and you have your own basically townhouse that you can live in and do whatever the fuck you want.
Well,
And I think it's $180,000 from like retirement to the death, till you die.
So it's not necessarily selling your house here. You just need 180,000 kind of.
Well, yeah. I think there was a stipulation about, not being able to move back kind of thing. But because the demand's so high, the wait list is long kind of thing.
we can't buy in Thailand.
No,
No foreigner.
no foreigner can. That's why you find a Thai girlfriend, and you go buy. That's
So
what
that's the same in Philippines.
Or lady boy, whatever.
if you're into that, they'll find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you have a corporation? Or like, can you even incorporate or whatever in Thailand?
You cannot open business in Thailand.
Oh.
You have to have a local to open a business because it's associated with your national ID.
Oh,
And if you don't have one of those, you can invest, but you can't own.
Oh, that's weird. Then I wonder why my uncle did. He had like 3 or 4 companies in Thailand.
Under
Maybe by
someone.
himself, or he has to have a partner usually.
And I heard it was by himself, but him, my aunt, my cousins are all in Thailand. I'm like, they've lived there for like 20 years. So I'm like, unless there was another miss that I don't know about, or
Maybe the times have changed. How long? Like 20 years is a long time, right? I've only been there for 5. But back in the day, maybe they could have invested, started their own thing. Are they permanent ties?
they were, but then they moved. Well, they moved back to Korea now because my aunt, she had like the whole left side of her body was just now paralyzed. So they just shut down everything and went back to Korea.
The dual.
The medical system. I think it was because my cousin said something about him being in the States. He might have to serve in the army or something like the Thai army. He's like, I don't know. Their situation was different because he's born and raised in Korea, but they lived in Singapore for some time. But he didn't say the Thai army. He said the Singaporean army.
Yeah, if you're a Singapore resident, you have to be in the Singapore army. Yeah. Same thing in Korea. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't even know what nationality he was. And then he's lived in New York for like 30 years.
Speaking of the army, I know a guy, he had to go back to live in Thailand and he didn't want to go to the army. He lived here since he was like in high school. So he had to go back because his PR didn't get approved. So he got there and he was trying to get out of the army. So he was trying to like lose weight so that he had to do some like, I don't know, some exception. And then when he got there for the registration, they said, oh, you're just 5 kilograms under if you were to like avoid going into the army. So he actually lost the weight and that was to his detriment. He should have kept the weight on and he wouldn't have not done the army. So he had to do the army in the end.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's a certain height or weight if you're too overweight or if you're too underweight. Yeah.
Yeah. And he misread. So sorry, dude. But yeah. This was fun. I will Jeff has Facebook. Please feel free if that's okay with you,
feel
Jeff.
free to
Add
add
Jeff
me,
as a
Message
friend or
me.
whatever. If you want to message him, hopefully we can get you in to join these calls even more. But yeah, Clement, Dave, it looks like you guys are off the hook for this time because we run out of time. But we'll give you guys another week to do next week. Cool.
sure.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, next week I'll do the Thai one for you guys if you want. Yeah, thank you. You guys have any closing words?
Yeah.
Before we end this call? Dave, Ujay?
Yeah.
Great.
Just thanks to Jeff for taking the time to talk to us. It was yeah, great session and nice to see you guys as usual. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.
All right,
No problem.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Good
Clem.
meeting you guys.
Yep.
All right. Well, you have any closing words, or you good?
No, thank you, Jeff, for coming. And too bad I couldn't make it today. I have a kid that I had to take care of right now in the morning. But hopefully I'll meet you someday soon.
Sounds good.
All right, Clem. I'll see you guys soon.
Have a
All
great
See
day,
you
guys.
guys. See you guys.
Jeff, how do I search you on Facebook?